Hey guys, today I'm working on Kokedama, and Kokedama is a style of Japanese bonsai where you take the plant and instead of putting it in a pot, you wrap moss around the root system and then tie them up in string. And then you can either display them on a plate or a dish somewhere, or you can hang them. I already made a couple of the hanging style right here, a couple of ferns. I think they look so cool. I love this style of gardening. We did a different video where I put together this one right here. It's a really sped up version, so you might have seen that one, and it kind of breaks the project down and makes it super fast. I like to watch those kind of videos, so those are always fun to put together. But we decided to put together a longer version where I can talk a little bit more about the process and what I like to use. So the first thing you need to do, there's actually not a whole lot of steps in this process. They look a lot more difficult than they really are. I take a bowl and then I add in both peat moss and bonsai soil in about a 50-50 ratio. So you just mix those together. And then I'm gonna add in a little bit of water, which I forgot in the kitchen. I'll be right back. Put my sleeves up here. Okay, so I'm just gonna put in a little bit, maybe like a cup or so, and mix that up with my hand. And I want the consistency to be moist, like kind of wet, but not dripping at all. I just kind of want the peat moss and the soil to kind of stick together. But it's coming together. See how it's kind of sticking a little bit? That's perfect. A little more. That's just about perfect. It kind of squishes. You can hear that water sound in there. So I'm gonna take both hands here and then form a sphere. And you know, it'll depend on the size of plant that you're starting out with. So I'm gonna be doing a third fern because I kind of wanted to have a little trio of ferns. So we're dealing with a 4-inch size can, and we're gonna be removing quite a bit of the soil off of the root ball. So I don't need this sphere to be super big. About like this, and we can always add more if we need to later. But see how that kind of holds its form? That's perfect, and the peat moss in this bonsai soil mix will help hold the moisture in, okay? So I'm gonna set this aside and get my fern ready. Okay, so this one, you just take it out of its pot, and then just gently work the soil off the roots, just as much as you can comfortably get off. You don't have to really tear apart the root system too much. That one's healthy, look at those roots. Okay, so that's just about perfect. See, I've got a little bit of soil still left on there, but I've got most of the roots exposed. So I'll put this aside. And this part can be a little tiny bit tricky, so what I'm gonna do is kind of crack this sphere open a little bit, just like that. And then I'm gonna take my plant and put it right in the center and then just kind of smush that soil around the root ball. And this is the point where you can add more soil if you need to. That's perfect right there. So I'm just gonna gently set this down in the bowl and set it aside and get my moss ready. Okay, so I've just got a bowl of water here. I've already got my moss pre-soaking. So I am using Super Moss Preserved Sheet Moss. I like this one the best because it maintains its green color for the longest, and it comes out in nice big pieces, which is super helpful in projects like this. So I'm gonna take my pre-soaked pieces and just wring them out. And then you just wanna arrange them flat on your work surface and with the green side down, because that's the side you want exposed in the end. And pre-wetting your moss in the beginning really makes the process a whole lot easier. It makes the moss a whole lot more pliable. Okay, I said that this comes out in big pieces, but boy, these aren't that big of pieces. That should work. Then I take my fern that I have prepared, set it right down in the center, just like that. And then I'm gonna work this moss up around the root ball. So at this point, I'm almost done. All I have to do is all my securing with my string. So I like to just kind of use my hands and form this sphere as tightly as I can. And the fun thing about these is that you can actually make them to where they're a little bit more flat bottomed so that they can sit on a dish or something. Like these ones, you could pretty much do either way, but they still are pretty spherical. But you can rework it. Once you hang it, you can kind of use your fingers to make it a little bit more of a circle shape. I don't think I mentioned that Kokedama, loosely translated, is moss ball. So that's what we're making, a moss ball garden. Okay, that's about perfect. So the next step is to take your wax string. You can pick this up at a craft store. It comes in both white and black. I prefer the black because you can't see it. It kind of just fades into the moss. I really like that. So just make a ring around the top, around the neck of the plant. and then make a double knot. You don't have to do this super tight. It's just to kind of secure your string or a starting point. And it's cold out here and my hands are kind of numb. This is going to be interesting. Okay, I'm going to trim the tail. So now you just wrap the string around the moss ball just every which way. So I'm just going to start by going around the outside, and then I'm going to be taking it up around the top, around the neck of the plant, and then I'm going to tilt my sphere and go underneath. And I'm just going to keep doing this for a little while until I feel like the moss is really secure. Okay, so I feel like that is pretty darn good. That's not going to come apart. So I'm just going to cut my string and tie it off somewhere. Just going to find a nice tight string here to tie it off to. Okay, now I'm going to cut my tail. So at this point you can actually be done. If you want to just set it in a saucer or on a plate or something like that, that's the fun part about this. You can really display them wherever, keeping in mind that they are kind of moist, especially after you water them, so don't put them on a surface that you don't want to have wrecked. So a saucer or some kind of plastic or something is a good idea, or hanging. Okay, so if you want your kokedama to hang, all you need to do is cut 3 pieces of string that are equal in length and tie them off to 3 separate points on your kokedama and then tie them together at the top. That's it. Super easy. So there's a couple other ones I'm going to make today. I'm going to do got them right down here. I want to try a kokedama bonsai. I think this will look super cool on some kind of neat, like Asian inspired dish. And then I'm going to do a haworthia. I have done a lot of reading on kokedama, and some people do not recommend doing succulents, but I'm going to try this little guy. I think it's going to work out. So we'll try to get pictures of these when I'm all done. As far as care goes on these, it's super easy. Once a week, submerge them in water for about 3 minutes, and then take them out of the water and let them drip dry for about 5 minutes, and then you can hang them back up or redisplay them where you had them. And then for fertilizing, you only need to worry about it in the summer months, and to do it, you just add half-strength fertilizer to the water that you're putting them into. And your kokedama should last up to 2 years, which is amazing. So keep in mind the light requirements of your plants and the water requirements, knowing that these can tend to dry out a little quicker than they would if they were in a pot. So if you've got a water-hungry plant like ferns, they like to be semi-moist. So keep that in mind, that you may have to water them a little more often than once a week. So just watch them and, let the plants be your guide. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.